in the saddle again on F.D.R. Community Housing Foundation, where we, we try to talk all things to build up communities. One of the biggest issues right now in Chicago is COVID and school closures.
Yes. What are the numbers up to? The kids getting COVID right now in the schools? It was alarming.
It's alarming, but the question is, you have the CTU and CPS, parents and students, and the community. All of this is something that we have to think about. Are you with CTU? Are you with CPS? Are you with the parents? Are you with the children? Are you for overall community development? 312-738-1060. What can you do in a pandemic when you know that when you send kids to school? I used to be a teacher, by the way. You know that, right? And as a teacher, there was in a year that went by that I didn't catch a cold. The kids are germy.
Yes, they are. But I must say, I haven't caught a cold since the start of COVID because of the mask.
Yeah.
I have not caught a cold, caught the flu, anything. But I will say this, I appreciate the schools who do not want to risk losing any students by making it remote. I don't think it's worth taking the risk of losing a child, not one child, by keeping the schools open. On the North Shore, that was a huge debate.
What do you
debate
mean
with
by
the
not
parents.
making it remote?
I would rather the kids be at home doing remote learning than to risk possibly dying from this virus.
Well, here's the thing.
School.
So, here's the thing. Some schools have families that's living in poverty and can't afford the IT and don't have the support at home. Just because you have online learning, it doesn't mean you have the support to learn.
Right.
And to have the internet, we know it's expensive. People cannot afford the internet. Some people don't have computers. Some people don't have the support that they need to help their children during online learning, during e-learning. It's not easy. Kids have to be prepared to fire up the computer, stay on task. That's why teachers are there.
Right. It's a really tough call. So you have the virus that could possibly kill them, and then you have a situation, some people have situations at home where they can't be the support of the kids learning online. What do you do?
Well,
What do you do?
So the mayor says that, the mayor of Chicago, Mayor Lori Lightfoot, said teachers don't come to work, they don't get paid. And there's this lawsuit, a labor dispute, that's talking about how the teachers union has instigated a illegal strike. Is it their job to protect the teachers?
Yeah, the teachers are at risk. Let me tell you, I would hate to be an educator right now during these times, during the time period of the pandemic, because I would opt to stay home.
You wouldn't get paid.
I just wouldn't get paid. I would be so worried the whole time because kids are germy.
Right.
They are germy, and a lot of them, they're not going to be disciplined to keep the mask on. It's kids that, especially the little ones, they practically lick each other.
That's
it's
true.
like
Sneeze and rub it.
Right.
So,
Right.
What's happening? It seems as though we only hear Chicago, School District 299, having problems. Any problems in Evanston with this?
Oh, yeah. It was a huge debate in Evanston to the point where our superintendent of District 65, Dr. Horton, and the school board, they were receiving death threats because they were choosing to keep the kids out of school because they did not want to risk losing one child to this virus. And so you had a lot of parents, I would say majority of white parents. They were like, no, my kid, is depressed. She needs to be in school. She's going to kill herself if she doesn't go to school. So they were upset at the school board, the district, for keeping the kids at home. But that was pretty much at the height of COVID. So the district made the call, like, we got to close the school down. Kids have to learn remote because they don't want to risk losing one child. And it's like a catch for the board, because had they lost a child and kept the school open, then it would have been parents like, oh, you're irresponsible, you're this. So they were damned if they did, damned if they didn't. And it's still a huge topic right now, because we've had, last I checked our numbers at the high school, District 202, 143 kids had COVID. This was just in the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
143 kids with COVID.
Well, and that's kids that's been tested and that know their status. I was talking to some educators, and they were telling me that the students in Chicago, they're coming in the classroom, coming in the school building, they're not testing them for their temperature. They don't have to have a test to prove that they are negative. And they don't have to prove that they've been vaccinated. So the question here is, what should the communities do in a case like this? 312-738-1060.
That's a tough call. I would hate to be a teacher right now. I'd hate to be on the school board right now. And the kids, the poor kids. I mean, they're vulnerable in both situations to their education if they stay home and learn. And then they're vulnerable to a deadly virus going to school.
So I would say, for one, the state, and I'll be working to try to figure out if we could do something to extend the school year. We need to extend the school year so that the students can make up their academic losses. Because this pandemic has been going on now 2 years.
2 years.
So if you think about it, you have some young people that has never really experienced a real day in high school,
right,
or
college,
or never really experienced a good day, or a year as a kindergartner. So they're gonna, when the pandemic is over, if it's ever over, they're gonna be aged as first and second graders, but they never really had a full year of kindergarten.
Right.
What is that going to do for society?
I think it's gonna have an impact on some of them, their development. Like, some kids work very well alone. That's just their personality. But then you have those who really need to be in a classroom environment for them to, retain information and really learn. So for some kids, I think it'll probably put a little stunt in their development.
There's no doubt.
And then others, they're gonna. It just depends on the kid, I think.
So I would think that the teachers union and the mayor and the parents should always do what's in the best interest of the children.
Yeah.
So
I don't agree with not paying the teachers, though, for being fearful of getting sick and dying. They already don't get paid enough. So if they get sick,
well, like you said,
medical bills.
Yeah. There's no doubt going into school, the virus is going to spread. Period.
No doubt.
So we're saying, no matter what, just get in there. We know you're going to get it. And the fact about that is, even if you are a teacher that's been vaccinated, you still can contract and spread the virus. So the only sure way to make sure that we reduce the spread of this virus is reduce exposure from people. And that means that teachers and students should probably figure out another way. It's the mayor's responsibility to come up with more solutions for students during this time. You know, it's not easy. I mean, it's not like this pandemic is something she went to school for or something that
somebody else did in history and she could just follow that.
Yeah.
No, this is new.
This is
everybody.
Brand new to everybody across the country. No matter, it's 859 school districts, but what we don't have is a conversation about getting it right, getting something done to make sure our students across the state, in the city of Chicago,
are safe. As well as our educators.
And our educators, and that we have a system in place for them to learn. So that we have a system in place that we know that we're going to make sure that we catch these young people up academically. I mean, young people in grades K through 3, you talk about a generation that could be lost. Because those are the foundation grades where, the child is developed, the brain and their learning is developed.
Learning about society and discipline.
And the basic skills. The basic skills. Learning to read, learning the basic skills. And if you fall behind, it's already noted that if a child falls behind and is not reading by grade 3, they're going to struggle. And, that is something that I think that the city, the state, and the country's got to look at as relates to what are we going to do post-pandemic and during the pandemic for learning. This is America. And people are flying out of space. And they could put that together, but we can't figure out how to put together a strategy so that young people could learn safely in this city and in this state.
So, what do you think is going to happen with the teachers' pay in regards to this pandemic?
Well, I think the courts will rule in favor of. Well, let me not say what I think.
Okay.
But I do know that the courts will make a decision, and I think that we just need everyone to be safe because, when parents, kids go to school, they bring the virus home, parents get the virus, they go to work, they spread it, it's never ending. Let's say that the parents, all the kids that go to school in Chicago, across the state, if they're in these schools and the virus is spreading, you're taking it home, now our workforce shuts down. So now we have no one to go to work because everyone's sick. So there has to be some adult conversations had about how we're going to deal with this virus.
And I mean, are there people who just don't believe that it's really spreading like that? I know of a family who just recently had a big family gathering out in Florida in one of the family members' backyard. And it was maybe about close to 100 people that fit in this person's backyard. And all those people came down with COVID. And then traveled back home and gave it to family members who didn't attend the event. Now they have COVID. So now you're looking at how many people in that family with COVID. So that's how it spreads. And I'm just thinking to myself, like, are there still people out there that just really believe it's not going to happen to them and that it's not real and that it doesn't spread like that?
I mean, what about the people? I mean, I respect people that say that I don't want to take the vaccine. I respect them. I don't know what else to say, but I respect their free will. I would never be able to make anyone do anything, no matter what. I mean, this is a country where people have free will, but I think that we have to be respectful in order to convince. You're not going to convince anyone unless you respect them and they're willing to listen to you respectfully. And so I think that where we're failing at in this country and in the state and the city is communicating and listening to people, why they don't want to take the vaccine, why they believe that it's okay to not wear a mask, why they believe it's okay for their kids to go to school and not be tested, or why they believe that kids should continue to do things even during the pandemic. I mean, we should have these conversations. 312-738-1060. Anybody want to have a conversation with us about it, they're welcome to call.
But at what point does it become just negligent? Like, this is a deadly virus, a virus that can kill.
No, that has killed.
That has killed.
Yeah.
That has killed many.
Yeah, and will kill.
And will continue to kill. And it's killing right now.
Yeah.
I mean, there's people lying up in a bed right now, having regrets. So, at what point does it stop becoming a choice? It's like seatbelts.
Okay.
It's like wearing seatbelts.
Well, I don't know if you get the shot.
Because now a seatbelt is no longer your choice.
Yeah, but
you have to wear a seatbelt.
But a vaccine is something that you are being forced to put in your body. Mm-hmm. I took the shot. I took the booster, and
I'm vaccinated, and I didn't want to be.
That's what I'm saying.
I did not want to
Who wants
get
to take a shot?
But I got that sucker.
Let me tell you.
It was looking real. I was like, yeah, I think I better go ahead and get this vaccine because.
Yeah, I know of instances where a 83-year-old lady had COVID. At the same time, her 60-year-old daughter had COVID. The 83-year-old lady actually recovered because she had the COVID shot within 2 or 3 days without any COVID, what you call challenges after. So there were no complications of COVID with the lungs. The 60-year-old didn't get the vaccine, mother and daughter. Didn't get the vaccine, and it tore up the 60-year-old to the point where she was down for at least 3 weeks. Thank God I'm told that she was healthy enough to overcome the virus, but it tore up. She's 60, her mother's 83, and her mother rebounded like that. But she didn't take the vaccine, and it almost took her out. So there are many, many examples that the vaccine works. But what people are concerned about, I hear, what will be the long-term effects of taking a shot?
That is on my mind. That is definitely on my mind. That's why I didn't want to get it. But I have people around me that I love and care for. And then I was seeing, I was one of those people. I was like, well, white people are lining up to get it.
Yeah.
So, it must be safe. Some is saying, I better get it. So I prayed on it. And some was like, go ahead and get that vaccination. But yeah, as soon as they put it in my arm, I started thinking, my Lord, please don't let this have any sort of impact on me later down the line. But I have been healthy. I have not had a cold, not a sneeze, not a nothing in the past 2 years.
Yeah, that's a blessing. And I think that people have every right to be suspicious about what they put in their bodies. But I got to ask, if you eat meat, if you eat and drink, I mean, are you really...
I love my Manhattans.
Yeah, you got to have it, but you take the vaccine. But I'm wondering, I think we just have to convince people, but there are people that never take vaccines. It's not just that they don't take this one. There are no-vax people.
Right.
So, what do we say about that? I mean, if they've never taken a vaccine in their entire life, should we expect them to take this one?
I don't expect them to, because this has been a lifestyle choice for them and their kids, never getting, the shots and everything. So I I, 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 understand. Truly, I understand them not getting it. But this is taking people out.
Yeah.
It's taking people out, and it's real.
It's-
And the numbers are going up.
The numbers are going up, so we here pray that everyone make the decision that's going to be good for your health. And you know what's best for your health. I mean, consult a doctor. Talk to your doctor, and if your doctor tells you that you probably shouldn't take the vaccine, then there's probably a reason why. But that's why you have a doctor. And the doctor should advise you on whether or not the vaccine is good for you.
I've never gotten a flu shot.
You've never gotten a flu
And
shot.
my
see?
doctor used to come down on me about that. Just get the flu shot, Meleika. And I'm like, no. And I never got the flu shot.
So, if you trust your doctor and your doctor is giving you health advice and giving you examinations, then here's the chance to really lean in on your health professional and find out get some education. If you are still not being ready to take the vaccine, just talk to the doctor and make your decision based on a medical expert that you trust, not the news, not the mayor, not the state representative, not the anchors, not anyone but your doctor.
I'll tell you what, I based my decision to go ahead and
Not
get
your doctor?
vaccinated. It wasn't my doctor, no. It was losing people who were close to me.
Yeah.
It was losing people who were close to me, and I'm not ready to go yet. And again, I was seeing, white people lining up to go get it. So I was like,
All over the world. People were lined up all over the world. And you're right. The fact that worldwide people are taking the vaccine, and we have not heard of, unless someone's keeping a secret, anyone that died because they took the vaccine.
right.
So I haven't heard that. I haven't read it. But I think that there has been some. I did read some conspiracy emails that people have sent me that some athletes have died because they've taken a shot. And there's a list of athletes that died because they took the shot. So, but.
I don't know anyone personally who has died who was vaccinated, who
Right.
took the vaccine. But I know several, unfortunately, who did not get vaccinated, and they're no longer with us today.
Well, this is a very serious issue, and I know that people are struggling. So I want to get a number. And you know what number I want to get, right? You probably remember it by heart. I can never remember the number, but we know that people are struggling during this time from trauma.
5/5/2020.
5/5/2010. So if you need someone to talk to, mental health professionals are available to talk for free. Text TALK to 5/5/2020. That's the Illinois Department of Public Health, and they're there to talk to you about even the vaccine. You could text TALK to 5/5/2020, but there's no doubt you have to take your life serious. As much as we can, you should talk to a doctor before you make a decision about whether or not you should or shouldn't take the vaccine. This is going to be a brand new show starting next week.
Yes.
What I think that people should know that starting next week on Fridays, we're going to dedicate this show to young
The youth.
people.
Yes. Hearing from the youth. You had did a great program right before the holiday.
Oh yeah, at the Thompson Center.
Yes.
Yeah.
You invited all the youth out, and it was pretty powerful. And their thing was that our generation has failed them and that we don't listen to them. So I think this is fabulous that you're going to dedicate Chicago Hill Fridays right here on CAN TV to the youth.
Yeah, they're going to come and they're going to tell us exactly what it is that's troubling them, how legislators, parents, community, law enforcement could help them.
Right.
It's enough of us just, legislating, preaching, and teaching students what we believe they want to learn, hear, and do, it's time to listen. I mean, I know when I was growing up, I don't know how many people listen to me, but this generation, we need to listen.
Yeah, I didn't do much listening when I was a youth. That's,
Wait, you didn't listen?
I didn't. They say, what would you say to your younger self? And mine was, I would listen.
The youth, I think they listen, but they say they don't know what they're talking about. And the reason why they say we don't know what we're talking about is because we didn't get their perspective. And youth, they do listen. They listen to that rap music, and they have been influenced by things that we believe that changes who they are.
It breaks my heart that they say that we failed them.
Yeah, they said that.
I would never say that about the generation before me, because I know they fought to move the needle, and they did move the needle. I mean, we're not exactly where we need to be as humanity, period, but as Black people, we're not quite there yet, but each generation has moved the needle.
Yeah, but what they also told us that I really, really found to be fascinating, and there's this talk of mental health, behavioral health being a stigma amongst Black people, is that they are in need of mental and behavioral health
And the fact
support.
they're saying that they need it,
They said they need
we
it.
need to listen to that.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. So this has been F.D.R. Community Housing Foundation, and you believe that this Fridays are going to be great. And any
Yes.
announcements from you?
I'm excited about Fridays.
Any other announcements that
Oh
you
my
might
gosh.
have from Evanston or anything?
Well, I'm excited we got the Chicago Hill podcast
Yeah.
coming up.
Yeah.
I mean, I love that Chicago Hill is opening up so many platforms because we really want to hear from the people,
So-
the youth, the people. So much going on.
So meet us right back here next Friday and listen to the youth. And by the way, if you have a youth that you would like to be heard, we're happy to add them to the list for future shows.
Contact us.
Contact us. Thank you. And see you next week.